I'm pulling out of the campground today, and I know that this question has come up several times: the 50 amp service versus the 30 amp service on a travel trailer. So, in this box, you're going to see two connections. This particular box, this is going to be a 20 amp service only. It's protected by a 20 amp circuit breaker, single circuit breaker, 120 volts. This outlet here, I'll pull it out, is a 50 amp outlet, and I'm going to go over the voltages that are available on this outlet. All right, this is protected by a 50 amp circuit breaker. Now, if you notice, there's two of them. They're bridged together. So what does that mean? Well, technically, this is 220 or 240 volts. There's two legs on here. Each leg serves 120 volts, with 50 amps going to each leg. Okay, so there's 50 here, 50 here. If you exceed 50 on either one of these, you're gonna blow or pop the circuit breaker, which will disconnect both legs going to the camper. My camper is a 30 amp service, and I used this adapter to bring it down to the type of plug that I need for my camper. Okay. And this is what that plug looks like. Okay, that's the ground circuit. One of these should be this one here. It's marked with a W. Is the common, and the other one's the black, the hot leg. Okay, so from here to here, if you're to meter it in the plug, will be 120 volts. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay, so one on one on the other one. 120 volts. This adapter takes the common from both. Okay, both commons go to the one single common up here, but it separates each leg going to each side, so I can technically service two campers at 30 amps with this outlet here. So to prove that the common goes into a single wire on the top here, I'm going to take this out, which is the common, it's marked as white, and I'm going to plug it in to this one here, and you're going to go 120 volts. See that? Now, to prove that if I capture each leg, it's going to be 240 volts. Okay, so I got one on the black leg here and one on the black leg here. As soon as I plug this in, I'm going to 240 volts. Alright, so 240 volts. That means it's catching each leg. Alright, captured the common on one, the hot leg on the other, 120 volts. Same common, other leg, 120 volts. Both legs crossed, 240 volts. Now, I know your 50 amp camper doesn't have any appliances that use 240 volts, so you'll notice that the breakers in your camper inside, none of them will be bridged across, because it'd be 240 if you measure from here to here, which we just did down here, left and right. So you have two separate 50 amp legs opposing on the waveform. That's how you're able to get basically a total of 100 amps of service to the camper. So if you took the 100 amps, 100 amps times 240 volts, 120 volts, that'd be 12,000 watts, or 240 volts times 50 amps is 12,000 watts. That's the power you have available to a 50 amp service. Meanwhile, a 30 amp service, you only have 3,600 watts. So that's how it works.